Hey guys, what's up, man? 945 here. Welcome back to another video. Um, Today is going to be part 4 of my One Piece review. Um, and this review is covering all of Thr- uh, Thr- Thr- Thriller Bark and Sabaody Archipelago. Uh, because I just finished Sabayoti last night. Um, so, um, Starting with Thriller Bark, I think that this was a perfectly C tier arc. It kind of for me had similar problems to Skypiea, where I felt like there were certain like stints of episodes, especially kind of in the beginning and like near the end, where where it felt like it dragged a bit. Um and it also felt like at certain points the fights were way too long. Um Like, the amount of time that they spend fighting ores, I kind of found a little bit ridiculous. Um, but then it really starts to pick up in like the latter like third-ish because that's like when all the really awesome action begins. I like Gecko Moria as a villain. I think that his Shadow Fruit is incredibly entertaining and just him and just like um one question I do have about this arc though is why the fuck do they laugh so weird? I mean, Gecko Moria goes like, and then Dr. Hogback is like, force. And then the hollow Perona is like, uh, the only one that laughs normally is Absalom, which just like I just I just found that confusing. Why do they laugh so weirdly? Anyway, that is completely unrelated to what we're talking about. So yeah, I like Gecko Moria as the villain. I think the concepts of taking I thought the concept of taking the shadows out of the out of a human and like putting it into a zombie to like animate the zombie. I thought that concept was really interesting. Um and I like how and I like the different kinds of like wacky concepts um that the zombies go for. The reason I feel like this is like C tier arc is also mainly because I feel like Skypiea in general just had like kind of like more creativeness with its like wackiness. Um, with Thor Bark, that's just toned down slightly, so um, that plus the slower pacing is just kind of makes it like okay, I think. Um, I thought that Absalom wanting to marry Nami was stupid. Um, and I didn't like. Well, okay, I thought the Hog character, the Hog zombie that like was obsessed with marrying Absalom, that was funny. That was really funny. Um, but at the same time, I just wasn't that interested, and it just felt like a pointless plot point. Like a useless plot point. Excuse me. I oh, and I gotta say though, I really like Brooke. I think that I loved his character introduction. I think that the idea of him being a skeleton is hilarious. And I laugh at, and I'm not ashamed to admit, I laugh at like every single joke he makes about the fact that he is a skeleton. I just think that's hilarious, and I really like Brooke, and I love the music he plays. Um, and his backstory is like, um, like I still think that Robin has the best backstory in terms of like character development, but Brooks probably has to be the most depressing because he literally watched every single member of his crew die. And he had to like sit there on the ship entertaining himself for all those years, all the while having made that promise to Laboon that he would come back. Um, and I love that about Brooks' character. I thought that was amazing. And speaking of which, segueing, that little detail I think is really I think that little detail is really what sold me on One Piece's world building overall, like as if I wasn't already. Um, because I just think that it was awesome. Awesome. I just think that I'm trying to having tough way wording this. I think that I'm really invested in the world building and connections after realizing that connection between the fact that Laboon was the same whale all the way back at Reverse Mountain, and Brook was part of the crew that is mentioned to have gone off on the Grand Line in Reverse Mountain. Um, so just the way that that all bring comes together is so satisfying, and I think that little detail is what has really sold me on One Piece's world building aspect specifically to make me convinced that it's beyond just really good, it's like god tier world building. Um, um, and now I cannot help but listen to Bink's Sake, the song, and because number one, it's such a catchy song, it's an amazing song. Um, but now I can't listen to it and help but feel kind of depressed for reasons I'll get to when I kind of start to explain Sabayodi. But um. I don't know if I said, I think maybe I said at one point in part three that with the backstory, Robin was now my favorite character. Yeah, no, scratch that once again. Zoro's brief time in second place is gone now because he is now once again my favorite character purely because of the fucking Zoro moment. That's how cool it is. When the One Piece fandom just refers to it as the fucking Zoro moment. Like, where he just keeps all of Luffy's physical pain and nearly dies from it. And then he's just like, what happened here? Nothing at all. And I am sold. Zoro is my favorite character from now on, and it's gonna take a fuck ton to change that in my mind. Like, it's gonna take a hell of a lot to change that after the Zoro moment in Thriller Bark. It's gonna take a hell of a lot to change the fact that Zoro is my favorite character. Uh, so yeah, I think that about sums up my thoughts on Thriller Bark pretty nicely. Uh, Overall, just an okay arc. Now, Sabayoti, by comparison, I'll say is like an A tier arc, probably. This arc was fantastic. Even though it wasn't nearly as long as Sabayoti, it really didn't need to be because it was only I guess it was exactly like 20 episodes, but which is pretty short by One Piece standards, honestly. Um, so right off the bat, I like the reintroduction of Hachi into the story. I thought that he was very funny and I was convinced that he had the same voice actor as John Ratzenberger, but I was wrong about that, which is crazy because in my mind they sound crazy similar. Um, and immediately the stuff with Duval, I I still cannot think about it without laughing. The the gag where oh my god, it's so funny. It's almost as funny as the Soga King theme song from Water 7. Where like Duval under the mask is revealed is like the same face as Sanji's crappy wanted poster drawing. And the way that it's built up, it's like he's out you I at first I assumed it was like he had beef with Luffy or something, because that's the obvious thing to assume. Then we said Sanji, it's just like you're racking your brain for like who this could be. Under the mask. And it's the guy with the same face as Sanji's crappy drawn wanted poster. And I that now that I told me, I was like rolling in my bed laughing for a good few minutes at that. Still can't stop laughing. It was a absolutely brilliant comedic gag. It was so funny. Um, anyway, so after they rescue Tammy and all that, then they take off. Um, and uh and then they go to the archipelago, and I really like the design of the archipelago. I thought that like it looks super cool. Um, and just like the different like environments on the archipelago, I thought were just like super interesting and like really creative and I also really like the um this idea of like of it being like a slavery culture and having to bow to these nobles called the celestial dragons. Could not have thought of a more fancy go goading name, like fancy bratty name for like nobles in this kind of story. And I really like that. Um, and then we get to the auction part, and in between there's the introduction of a ton of awesome pirate characters, in particular being Captain Kidd and Trafalgar Law, both of which are extremely entertaining and have very interesting devil fruit powers. And just have extremely entertaining personalities, and I love how their interactions with Luffy as they just beat up the Marines. Um, and then Rayleigh comes in, and wow, he is a cool as fuck character. Um, because of the fact that he used to be like the vice captain to Goldie Roger, that was crazy. Um, and that episode where they like reveal all this information, I thought was insane. And my favorite thing about that, because that was probably my second favorite episode of the arc. If that sounds confusing, I'll explain what I mean in a minute. But because I think that it was so interesting to see like his backstory explained and how like he thinks, like how his interactions with Shanks like revealed that he thinks that um Luffy, like the spirit of Roger lives on in Luffy, essentially. Um and and just like seeing that like Robin like asking the question and they found out what happened during the blank century. And they like know all the information about what's connected to polyglyphs. And the fact that it literally could be that easy to just get him to tell everything. But but his wording is like that's just one answer and your journey could lead you to a different one. It just has me thinking like where could this possibly go then? Because that could open up a whole other plethora of potential possibility with the story. But also I think the way that the character writing in this episode is genius because I think that um the way that Robin's character just like eventually decides to not know about it. Um and also like and how that connects to Skypiea, um and how uh uh and how and how everything ties in together and how it's all connected. Um and then like how Usopp almost asks like if the One Piece is real, but then Luffy just like just just stops him in his tracks and he's like, I'm I have the if I learn anything about the One Piece, I'll die disease. Um and um and just Luffy's like Luffy's like personality once again shining through as the honorable pirate that he is, which just makes him such a great protagonist in my opinion. Um and and then we kind of like get to some more action scenes where there's these like robot versions of Bartholomew Kuma, um, who, by the way, I didn't mention this when it came to Third Mark, but he's crazy cool. Um, I love his paw fruit powers, and he's basically like completely godlike OP, and no one can do anything to him, essentially. Um, and um, Let's actually on thought for a second. And then how there's just these like robot versions of them that are just completely literally destroying every pirate crew, and that's even before Kizaru comes in. And by the way, Kizaru is fucking awesome. Easy, like I would wager he's easily the most powerful admiral I've seen thus far. He seems way more powerful than Alcini, that's for sure. I haven't seen Kuzan, but his glint glint fruit is completely OP. He can kick at the speed of light. He can shoot rays of light. He can like manifest himself as particles of light, so he can't actually be bodily harmed. He can like teleport around as light by using a mirror reflecting technique. He can even make a sword out of light energy, which he fights Raleigh with. What the fuck? These admirals are crazy. And then the fact that Riley's hockey power, which like I'm really hoping there's some more explanation as to what the hell hockey is and what the fuck are the differences between like Logia and Zone Devil Fruits, because I still don't really understand that. I'm really hoping that's explained at some point. Um, um, and then oh my god, episode 405. Um, this just this episode just absolutely fucking emotionally murdered me, dude. I because like every single member of the crew just it disappears one by one, and it's this completely hopeless situation, and you're just like dejectedly like I was just like, no, no, come on, no. Every single character, one by fucking one. They all just Kumo just made him fucking disappear. Uh and then near the end of the episode, oh my god, this is why this is why like being sick has been like emotionally like just like destroying me every time I listen to it, even though I love listening to it. It's because of this episode. They have that song playing in the background while they run through like the emotional moment where each member officially like joined the crew in terms of like swearing loyalty to Luffy. Like where there was like Brooks' moment, Frankie, there was Robin's I Wanna Live from Ennis Lobby, there was like Chopper's speech, there was Nami getting the straw hat and like Luffy being like, always be your friend. There was Sanji joining the crew. There was everything with Usopp. They even referenced the fight between them in Water 7 and their like recover and they're like mending back together. And then Zoro's like, did I do good King of the Pirates after he got fucking slashed by Mihawk? Oh my god. I just that one and then just seeing Luffy just like absolutely falling on the ground, knowing he could do literally nothing. Wow, I felt like I received a dozen gut punches within the span of like 5 minutes. It was dumb. Um, anyway, to sum it up, I really, really like where the plot is going so far, and I know that it's like crunch time until I'm getting to Marineford, which I know is a like the next one. But I've already reached the first peak, which is like Water 7 in East Lobby, and I've heard about the second supposed peak, which is like Marineford, and I'm like slowly building my way there. I'm going to start Amazon Lily very soon. And I'm probably going to make a video about Amazon Lily and Impel Down together, I think. Um, because a bit based just a prediction based on what everyone says about Marineford. I think I might have to make my own like separate review video for Marineford itself. Just, just a prediction based on what everyone has told me about how good Marineford is. Um, but that's gonna do it for me. Thillabark was okay, and I also really enjoyed Sabaody. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later with more One Piece reviews and other videos. Bye.